So nothing's saturated. It's really about what are you here to deliver? What cool thing are you here to deliver? Who do you need to get on the phone with to uncover that? And how many people can you help? Is it one? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it 100,000? I don't know. It's really about, are you passionate enough? Are you driven enough by the inspiration that you originally got to get this, certification, so to speak, or training? Are you inspired enough to go out and help more than just 1 or 10 people? And if not, then find out what it is. And it's not always about more school or more education. It's often just getting somebody to help you open that door inside of yourself.
Welcome to another episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar Cumberbatch of OmarCumberbatch.com. As always, appreciate you joining me to learn all the new and good stuff in the health coaching space. And today we have another great guest. Her name is Sheevaun Moran, and she has helped over 25,000 entrepreneurs, CEOs, and leaders achieve freedom and flow in their business and life. She was a really outstanding guest who brought up a lot of interesting points. We have a lot of guests who have just different philosophies about businesses and how to grow them and actually start them. And I guess sometimes it's interesting to hear just the vast variety of opinions on it. And that just comes over with it's like, we call it in health coaching, the bio-individuality of individuals. And I think that pertains to businesses as well. And she really demonstrates that very well today. She's really something else. So I hope that you enjoy her, and please leave a rating and or a review on iTunes as always, because it keeps me having the ability to get awesome guests like Sheevaun and people who do such magical things like she does in her industry. So let's jump into the show. Hey, Sheevaun, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks. How are you?
I am fantastic. I wanted to give you a public apology for missing our last call. I completely botched that, but I'm happy that you were so gracious to come back and give me another chance.
Thanks. I'm glad I'm here. Let's do this. Let's do a fun thing.
Yeah, no, I'm sure my audience is going to love you. So I did a lot of research on you, and I just want you to know that I'm really impressed with what you've been able to do, just getting into the business of many different industries, which is fascinating. I think that's just you're going to be a great resource for health coaches out there, especially when they're just starting out. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and of how you came upon this journey?
I happened on it, to be perfectly honest. I started out in high school as a computer coder. I was very introverted, and I decided that I needed to learn sales and marketing to deal with just another side of life. And when I came to California, I ended up at a company that was owned by this beautiful gentleman who was an engineer who was what we now call entrepreneurs. It wasn't called entrepreneurs at the time. And that was kind of a bad name, interestingly. And he and his wife, who was HR, there were 12 of us. So, HR 12. And, she helped with hiring, and me in sales and marketing. And there were 2 of us in sales and marketing, and it was the catalog company. And the products that he created were so profound, and it was really amazing to see how to grow the company. And I loved the fact that I got to add sales and marketing, coding, and figuring stuff out, and really building a company from early stages. And so when I helped it get built to about $140 million from probably a couple 100,000 a month.
Wow.
And I thought, and we sold it to Rubbermaid. And when we sold it, I was like, I have this little spidey sense that about a year, they're going to start being like nonsensical and telling us to do really icky things that corporate does. That's what I decided, even though I really hadn't been exposed to that kind of stuff before, but that was my spidey sense. And turns out I thought, well, about a little more than a year, and I think I got to go. And I was right. I was spot on. It was about 18 months. And then I went and looked for another company like that. So I did that 4 times. I thought, I love this grow a little company, take a little company from an idea and have they have problems and help them get big and sold, and then go on and help another company. So fast forward, I got sick, misdiagnosed, nearly died from loving what I did too much and not taking care of my body. And then decided that I could, long story short, but healed myself through this cool process that I created. And then I started taking those techniques into the companies that I was helping. And I could see how to grow sales and so on. And then next thing you know, I'm invited to colleges to speak, and I'm teaching meditation, which I didn't even know that I knew how to teach. And I kept getting these amazing things just really being thrown at me saying, oh, you know how to do this. And I thought, do I? That doesn't make sense. Okay, I guess I do. And then about a year or so into that, one company I was helping got bought by UPS and now became UPS Home Delivery, which is kind of fun. And the idea for me was, I'm not doing this with any other organization again. This is not okay. And so I decided that I would just hide from all the people who knew me, because I was really good at authentic sales, I guess is what they call it now. But it was just being very, very candid. And if you like it, you like it, or you don't, you don't. And I was very well known for growing sales organizations inside of a company and helping those sales grow and making sure the company systems were working. And fast forward about a year and a half into all of these amazing opportunities, colleges and teaching and energy and stuff like that, that came to me. And a guy that I'd always wanted to work for called and begged and begged and begged me to come work for him. Okay, so I go work for him. I thought, okay, you got me for a year, but I get to work however and whatever and whenever, if I even feel like working. And he said, I'll take you however I can get you. I said, and by the way, it's going to be an obscene amount of money. And he said, whatever you want. I thought, oh my God, seriously? Now I have to work for you. And so I go work for him. I helped him, and it was amazing. It was fun. And then that company got sold, and I thought, I'm never doing this again. A little bit further forward, I helped a few clients with their health programs and their health problems, and created a school for energy medicine and energy healing. And a woman who was a client sat down after, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 12 sessions. She says, do you understand what you did for me? And I thought, I don't know, what are you talking about? Yeah, we did some cool things. And she said, you don't understand that my and my husband's business was failing. Not only was I as a horrible mom, which is what we were solving, and my health was a mess, but my husband's and my business was failing. I was like, well, you never told me that. She said, well, I didn't, but I want you to hear that some friends of mine and I who know you, I thought I didn't know they knew each other, are talking about you and how everybody makes money every time they work with you. And I looked at her and I said, oh yeah, that's nice. And I just kind of blew it off. And then she said, wait, I'm not leaving until you really hear me out. You have to understand that you have something unique that nobody knows how to do. And I thought, okay, well, I'll pay attention to that. And then I started looking back at files and saying, oh, yes, this is something that I am really good at. I can handle the woo stuff. And I'm really good at building businesses because I've done it, or I've been inside an organization. And so I decided to bring those two together more formally and created Energetic Solutions, more officially. And so that's what we do now. I have 2 companies. One's a school for energy medicine, energy healing. And the other one is for mentoring, coaching, helping people really fulfill their life's mission in the woo world, or coaching, whatever. Woo and coaching, same, but and make money at it, for gosh sakes, which always frustrated me that I saw people not making enough money. So that's how I kind of landed here.
Well, that's a great story and a great background to get to know you. But I do have to take it back a little bit, because you definitely had a wonderful opportunity at that company to see how it actually worked and the ins and outs of it, do you think that you were naturally gifted at the sales component and creating these systems and structures for business, and they just gave you the opportunity, or it was something that you learned along the way?
I started my first business at 11
Oh,
because
okay.
my parents wouldn't buy me a sweater that I wanted to buy. And they said, if you can figure out how to buy it for yourself and get your own money, then you can do it. You can have it. And I thought, okay. And so there was a lady down the street. Somehow I got this little bug in my ear that the lady down the street needed to have her lawn mowed. And maybe I overheard it or something. And I went up to the door, just, a little tiny 11-year-old. She's, hey. And she says, I lost the person who does my yard. You can do it for me. And it was the biggest yard in my neighborhood. Humongous. And so I took my parents' lawnmower and I mowed this lady's lawn every week. And then in the winter, I decided, well, it's cold, so I'm going to shovel the snow. So I shoveled snow and I mowed lawns, and that was my first business. And then my second one was delivering stuff on my 10-speed bicycle. So I think I got it in my ear, my bug in my mind that if I could figure it out to do it on my own, I could do it and grow it. And I would be great. And even though I was still pretty introverted, I figured out that if you are truthful, you deliver, and you really stick with it, that's what I decided anyway, that it would work. And sure enough, it did. So I started there, and then I found that company on accident. And I think they really taught me the stuff that was inside of me that I didn't really know was inside of me.
Right, right. So yeah, I guess I always ask that question to some degree just to see whether or not it's something that anybody can do or anybody can learn. And I kind of feel like there's a combination of the two. Obviously, you had the entrepreneurial spirit and you were able to just take it and run with it. And, over the course of time, you learned a lot and it's been absolutely successful. So what do you see when you're dealing with such a broad scope as far as industries go? Because I've seen you do well with real estate agents, obviously coaches, people in different types of practices. What is like the first thing that you notice that's maybe, I don't want to say it's a universal trait, but that thing that gets in the way specifically when it comes to just getting their businesses off the ground properly?
I think everybody's stuck with a preconceived notion about money and how much they can and cannot have and where they can and cannot go. And they don't know enough about systems to really set things up so that it can fly faster. And I think almost every person, even successful people, have this magical thinking of like, yeah, it's going to work out, and it will. However, if you don't, one, have the right people, two, learn how to make good choices, three, learn how to sell. Nobody loves to sell. Nobody wants to sell. Everybody thinks that nobody should have to sell. That's a big thing. And not knowing how to use your energy right. And the energy is a huge piece because generally we're just depleting our energy in order to get to an end goal. And there's a way to do it without depleting your energy.
Right. So, I mean, I love the energy work and everything like that. So I want to dive into that a little bit because I know that you're a big proponent of energy and aligning specifically. So can you talk about just that concept? Because I think that'll be real helpful for health coaches just starting out. So to help them to get off the ground.
Yeah, I think, say you've gotten your health coaching certificate, and I'm going to take it off the energy for a second, just because if you've gotten your certificate or you're done with school, if you have a mind blurb around lack, meaning can't, won't, wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't, any lack mentality, that will deplete your energy, right? So we're going to start with lack mentality. And most people who start out on these journeys really don't understand how money and prosperity works, and they don't understand how to grow it so that it works for them. And that you need to have all of these things, like this pretty website and all this stuff first. And that's backwards. That's just absolutely backwards. And so if you're putting your energy in the right direction, but on the wrong thing, you're not going to get a result. So think about a chiropractor. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had a chiropractic adjustment?
I had one this morning.
Yeah, right. And so if you really think about it, they can adjust a muscle or a tendon or get bones lined up so that the muscles and tendons and things are flowing better. The nerve is flowing better. And those things all have to be put into a groove so that the body does its work, so that the brain can think better, so that you have no pain or less pain. And the interesting thing about a chiropractic adjustment is that it could be one tiny millimeter, which is super small, one tiny millimeter removed, and your entire being goes, wow, that's amazing. And that's kind of the way it is with a small business or a startup. And after you've gotten your certification, you've gone and you're on your next part of the journey, it really is, fine tuning it. And generally everybody thinks that once they've gotten the certification that they're good and they should just go. It's like, well, there's actually a little bit more to it than that. And it isn't all about putting the website up. It really is about the energy and making sure that millimeter is sorted out before you go.
So you did mention the money blocks specifically. So I'm really curious about what does one do to overcome, that feeling of lack in money and just ability? Any suggestions for that?
Well, you have to take responsibility for your income, and you have to take responsibility for learning how to get somebody to say yes. And if you are undercharging, it's not right. If you're overcharging, it's not right. If you don't know how to ask for the money, then you're never going to get clients. If you are giving stuff away for free, then you're out of integrity energetically. If you're, if you're afraid of what somebody's going to say or think because of what you do, then you're not going to be able to have clients. And it's not about learning how many times you can get a no answer. That's obscene. It's just like, how do you talk to somebody? How do you really help somebody see that you have the value and that you can be the person to take them to that next shore, that next side, that next step? And it has to come from, you having clarity.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of clarity, that's one of the things that I found very difficult for health coaches once they get out of school, that there's such a broad array of categories and possibilities that clarity part of it is really, really difficult to really get under control and really start to focus on specifics. Do you have any suggestions for that, how health coaches can gain more clarity in their practice?
Well, first of all, if they're just graduating or just getting out, then they don't have a practice. Until you've had 100 people, you don't really have a practice. Sorry, that sounds rude. I get it, but I've helped too many thousands of people to mince words. So sorry, but go help 100 people. The reason I say that is because by the time you've helped that many people, you're going to know that you have something different that other folks don't have. My hack, I think, for myself for that was I had 4 free healing clinics, and we would see anywhere from 5 to 50 people in 1 2-hour session.
Wow.
thinking about it is a little nuts, but we did that 4 times a month. And I did that for several years. And so I got my 100 people pretty quick. And it's important for you to look at where you came from and your personal decision to get whatever certification you've gotten and start from there and talk from there. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to copy what everybody else does. And the fact that you're copying what everybody else does it will wear out pretty soon. You'll be bored and then you'll quit. And that's the challenge that I see with a lot of people is they're copying what somebody else is doing, or like, I want to go there. It's like, that's not your thing. There's something more unique inside of each of us that is meant to be out there and shared. And maybe it's not that you have your own thing. Maybe it's you have a part-time thing of your own thing and you help somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's definitely an interesting way to look at it. I've had many guests who have agreed with what you said, and many guests who don't, in the sense that they want you to really, get clarity on a specific market and really start at some point. And there's other people, like you said, just get yourself out there, start really working, and then it kind of finds itself. So it's always something that I find interesting to hear the two different perspectives on that, especially when it comes to first steps of the health coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's the mark of the 100, though. It's just like you'll know so much about yourself and who you serve after 100. You just will. It's inevitable. Because you'll find yourself saying similar things to different people for different reasons, and you'll discover that there's some real truth to, oh yeah, that's my gig, that's my jam. But most people think that they just want to start. And it's like, great, start somewhere, but go start and get 100 under your belt. I get that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It's just really not.
Oh, no. Yeah. Listen, I totally agree with you. It's just, I guess, one of the things that has always come up as far as just the idea of getting that 100 is that you would kind of need to know what you're selling before you get to that point. And I think that might be the difficult thing so like a health coach who's listening right now who doesn't have a client, they're like, okay, what's my first step? What do you think about
but
that?
you hear, but here's something that's important, Omar, is that it's you'll hear something from somebody in line at the store or somebody in a conversation, and you can help with that, but you don't speak up and say, oh, you know what, I can help you with that. Mm-hmm. And you're looking for your thing, and you're looking for your thing, and you're looking for your thing, and likely it's sitting there right in front of you, and you've heard it 100 times. You just thought it needed to look different. And that's the challenge.
Right. No, that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important for health coaches to actually realize, like, we have a lot more power and abilities that we just are kind of sitting on in those circumstances instead
We're just
of
not
going.
Paying attention.
Exactly. Yeah, no, good point. I definitely agree with that. So one of the things that I also wanted to touch base with you, because of, again, like I mentioned earlier, you've worked in a variety of industries, and many of those markets that you've worked in are considered saturated. Can you first off just tell health coaches that saturation isn't a super big deal, right? And how can a health coach really eventually start out and separate themselves a bit?
I don't. So here's something that's important about me is I don't understand the concept of saturated. Nothing is saturated because we wouldn't have people who have an inspiration from their soul or whatever, some little inspiration to be like, I need to get certified in this, or I need to go do this, whatever. So nothing's saturated. It's really about, what are you here to deliver? What cool thing are you here to deliver? Who do you need to get on the phone with to uncover that? And how many people can you help? Is it one? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it 100,000? I don't know. It's really about, are you passionate enough? Are you driven enough by the inspiration that you originally got to get this, certification, so to speak, or training? Are you inspired enough to go out and help more than just 1 or 10 people? And if not, then find out what it is. And it's not always about more school or more education. It's often just getting somebody to help you open that door inside of yourself. So nothing's ever saturated, or else, for God's sake, if everything were saturated, we wouldn't have gone from, what's that thing, MySpace to Facebook to Instagram to Snapchat to TikTok to la 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 la. Nothing saturated. It's just a matter of what's the evolution, And are you going to play in the evolution of how humanity needs more help? And humanity needs more help than ever. Oh my gosh, I'm writing a new book about all the weird health hacks that I've given clients over the past, almost 20 years. And I thought I was going to be done at page 9. Now I'm at page 20. I thought, I guess I'm not done. There's a lot of weird stuff I know in my head that nobody ever talks about.
No, exactly. Yeah, I always find that concept because I hear that so much. Oh, the market's saturated, and there's so many different angles to disprove that. Specifically, like there's 7 billion people in the world. Especially in the health space, every American I know got something wrong. Right? So, and then you also come into the idea that you bring your own unique methods and ideas in that space. And I think the fourth reason there's no saturation is because, and I'm sure you see it all the time in so many industries, it's almost a battle of attrition, because the longer you just stay in it with your message, like you start seeing so many people just not do what you do in a matter of like 2 or 3 years. I'd say like that's one of the
I think you're onto something. I mean, and that's really rare. People would say, "Oh, I do what you do," and I thought, "Yeah, I'm going to be here a lot longer than you because I know exactly what I'm here to do."
Yeah,
you can't tell me you do what I do because you won't be here
right.
when it's all said and done.
Yeah, it is sad because I've definitely had my share of like the big dogs in the health coach space come on the show, and we've talked and stuff like that. But I do have a lot of people, because I'm over 100 something episodes in this particular podcast, and it's been a weekly running show for a few years now, and like a lot of the people, my former guests, I just don't see them around anymore, and like.
Isn't that fascinating? So it's really, the interesting part about that is, are you willing to stick with it and find your specific thing and just keep going until it really, really starts to hum? Most people aren't. I mean, that's how most comedians, they leave the industry because they don't hit it within a couple, 2-3 years. And you can see the people who've been saying, I'm just going to keep going because this is what I'm here to do. The Bill Maher's and the, Dave Chappelle's and and all of the folks. She's like, yeah, stick with it.
Yeah.
There's power in it.
No, absolutely. There's absolute power in it, and it's amazing. Like, it's not even that you're the best or anything like that particularly. It's just you just
No, I
ride it
am
out.
the best. No, I'm just kidding.
Now, listen,
I'm
you're
very
proving
good.
it today. You're very, very good. I don't know anybody exactly like you. That's for sure.
Oh, thanks.
So, speaking of someone like you, right? Can you talk about specifically why is it so important to take those steps and invest in yourself with someone like you?
Why is it so important? You can't see your own caca. Um,
Yeah.
you can't. It's really easy to buy our own BS and be like, "That's the way to go." Um, and it's really easy to go like a millimeter in the wrong direction, doing the right things. But what if somebody adjusted you to that, the millimeter in the right direction with the right things? Holy smokes, then you're going to soar. And that's the difference between somebody who will say, no, I'm going to figure it out on my own. You know what? It'll work out. It'll all happen. And it's like, yeah, it might,
Mm-hmm.
and it might not, but it's more likely to happen way faster with help. And people who are willing to invest in themselves to get a coaching certification have been proven to invest in themselves to really take it to that next level and figure out what's next, whether it's exactly with that coaching certification or something more. That's the smart person who's willing to say, you know what, I'm going to really learn systems from somebody, and I'm going to learn how this all gets put together in a way that makes sense. And I'm going to bypass all of the ups and downs and upheavals and emotional turmoil. It's making me think of the story of this girl who came to me, who was certified in, I don't know, somebody's technology. And she came to one of my conferences, and you can see her on my website, I think somewhere, but she came in her pajamas, which is hilarious. She came in and she's like, I'm good. I've been coaching all these amazing people, blah, blah, blah. And she told me what she was earning. And I was like, oh my God, when are you going to get off of being addicted to your potential? And a lot of people are addicted to their potential. And so she was making maybe $12,000, $15,000 a year at the time. And that was a lot. I thought, oh God, that's not okay. Not my world. That's not a lot. Mm-hmm. And so today she's gonna hit close to 800K. So I think she's doing okay. And I didn't let her have a website or anything other than she could only post on Facebook. And she didn't have a website until a year or two ago. So there's something to this. Sort out the energy, get the right alignment.
Wow. Okay. So I love the phrase addicted to potential, because I think that's a part of the hiding from the possibilities thing. So that's a cool phrase. I think I'm going to steal that.
You can borrow it and give proper credit.
No, yeah, definitely. I can't pick your brain, so I'm going to try to steal this thing.
You can't pick my brain. We can have a conversation.
Yeah, now see, I'm beginning to get to you now. I understand you a lot better. So, what I want to do, just because I promised you to be about 30 minutes, and I think we're just about to hit that point. Just if you can, just give the audience obviously how we can keep in touch with all the great stuff that you're doing and the ability to work with you, et cetera. But also just like, I'm curious to see, if you could tell like the audience as well, like we obviously have some interest in working with you. We give you a call. What's like that first thing you do on that first call that gets us to start on the path of being more prosperous?
Well, first of all, you don't have a call with me on the first call. That's the second call.
Okay.
Because you have to get by somebody else to get to me.
All right. Big time.
But generally what I've discovered is that by the time somebody gets to me, they're truly, truly meant to be here for me to help them. And their soul knows that. It's more of a soul choice, not an intellectual choice. And then we figure out where that next step is and how long is it going to take? And are we on, a slower path or a little bit more accelerated path? That's really how that goes.
Okay. Fair enough. So Sheevaun, you've been fantastic. Can you please give us your information so that we can take up on some of these opportunities that you present?
Sure. Go to SheevaunMoran.com, SheevaunMoran.com. And cool part about that site is you can do an assessment, you can opt in for our free book, and then that will get you on our email list. And I always send I personally write every single one of the email blasts. You'll get to see how my little weirdness through the email blast, but the email newsletter, whatever you want to call it. And I'm always about value. So whatever is on our site, it's about huge value and how to get you to your end goal. So click around, opt in, and see if I can be of service and help you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for jumping on the call today. I really enjoyed this show. I'm sure the audience will as well. And have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Omar.
Hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. If you did, jump over to iTunes and leave a rating and or review. It goes a long way in helping get this message out to our fellow health coaches and people in our industry. Also, if you can, jump over to my website, omarcumberbatch.com, where I give out a lot of freebies, including my 5-day sugar challenge for people who are having issues with sugar. And also for health coaches, I have the book, Hidden, It's the 6 not so obvious ways to get your clients unstuck. Have a great day.